Welcome back to the Mulligan Brothers. I'm really excited to share today's lessons with you. Today's video was made possible at mulliganbrothers.com, where everybody who's bought a journal, a t-shirt, a hoodie, or the new Memento Mori poster has helped support these projects. The new Memento Mori poster is a poster to remind you that you will one day die and that time is precious. It's 80 years of tiny little boxes that you shade in, and one day you'll shade in a box and you won't shade in the next one. And if that does not motivate you, I don't know what will. So use code STOIC with the link in the description for the new Memento Mori poster. But before that, let's dive into this amazing lesson.
I was sober at the time, and walking down the street in Dublin, I had a lot of people recognize me and say, come for a drink. And I'd say, I don't drink. And they'd say, okay, just a pint. And I'd go like, that's still a drink. You know what I mean? Like this idea, like a pint's not a drink, that's breakfast or whatever. Similar to the food, I needed to use the stuff until I couldn't use it anymore, whether it was alcohol or drugs. I needed to get to the point where I was blacked out or about to OD. And when I was told by a doctor that I had congestive heart failure and there were all these ailments that I had, and the doctor was like, oh, you are like almost dead and you are gonna die and there's really no reversing this.
Just on getting sober, is like, what was that like?
When I was on My Name is Earl, I was in Ireland and I was sober at the time. And walking down the street in Dublin, I had a lot of people recognize me and say, come for a drink. And I'd say, I don't drink. And they'd say, okay, just a pint. And I'd go like, that's still a drink. You know what I mean? Like this idea, like a pint's not a drink, that's breakfast or whatever. You know, that I think there's cultural things there, but I, you know, for me, similar to the food, I needed to use the stuff until I couldn't use it anymore, whether it was alcohol or drugs. I needed to get to the point where I was blacked out or about to OD in order to feel sated from these things. And it was just, I just had an unhealthy relationship with them.
Was there another, like a low moment or moment where you was like, that's it, I'm done with alcohol and drugs?
Yeah, and I was told I was gonna die. I was told I was gonna die, and I was also told that I probably would die even if I got sober. And I just, you know, at that point, I had this thought of like, well, if I'm gonna die either way, there was a little bit of me that was convinced I was gonna die for a while leading up to it, but I wasn't told by a doctor. And when I was told by a doctor that I had congestive heart failure and there were all these ailments that I had, and the doctor was like, oh, you are like almost dead and you are gonna die and there's really no reversing this. I thought like maybe it would be nice for my parents to bury a sober person. Like that was really my idea. And then I got sober and my health improved so much that I kind of was like clinging to life for a while, but not, it took that to get me to be able to confront my weight too, you know, this clarity of like, I don't have to damage myself in all these ways. I don't have to overdo everything.
What was that day like? What led you to go to the doctors to have that assessment?
I had, I was doing heroin and cocaine, and I had this thing which would happen, my feet would start swelling, and then my legs would swell, and the swelling would move up my body. And I went through a couple of months with this where I would then quit doing drugs and get very sick for a few days, and the swelling would go away, and then I'd start doing drugs again. And then it came where I quit doing drugs for a few days and the swelling didn't go away, and it was every day it was higher and higher, and it was up into my abdomen. And I went to the doctor like, what is this swelling? And she said, oh, that's congestive heart failure. When that swelling gets to your heart, you die. And that was really like, oh, I didn't know any of that, you know. I wasn't thinking this was, anyway, that I remember that day very clearly.
Okay, I mean, thanks for sharing. Like, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Wow. So then you went into Then you had a time period where you went into...
I went to rehab.
Yeah, okay.
I got sober. I, you know...
What was your why at that point? Like, what was not to die? Was it for your parents, like you say?
Yeah, not to die, and not to die, like, it seemed very pathetic to me, to die in that way. You know, and the other thing is, like, as a kid, there was some romanticism about drugs and alcohol and stuff, and I would, like, you know, read Burroughs Junkie or The Basketball Diaries or, you know, Charles Bukowski, and there was such a romanticism about being a barfly and a scumbag in Hollywood, and it just seemed like, this is cool, you know, this is edgy. And then really you meet other drug addicts and you're like, God, these people who are doing this are total nerds, and you know, I don't mean nerds like Revenge of the Nerds, just like not people I want to associate with at all, or be associated with, you know what I mean? There's nothing cool about them. I know some rock stars have died, and rock stars are kind of as close to objectively cool as you can get, I suppose, but I just think it's all just, for me, a way to not confront reality and not be present, and that to me seems so weak, and I don't know, it felt very pathetic, and so I was like kind of turned off from the whole thing, while at the same time not being able to experience happiness without it, you know. So there was a long period where, especially with opiates, my experience was that life really sucks without them after your body is accustomed to getting them. Like, I didn't really enjoy anything for a couple of years, and life was pretty bleak. And then you get all that back and life is wonderful again, you know. But it is very, very hard. And it doesn't surprise me at all that people fail that as often as they do.
Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm going to link all the resources down below. So if you want to find out more information about this, please head down below. I also want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's hit the join button. We're doing behind the scenes at the moment. So if you've seen the behind the scenes videos, thank you so much. We're trying to put out as much content as possible. We have some amazing projects in the works. And also everybody who's bought a t-shirt, a hoodie, a journal, at Mulliganbrothers.com, our commitment has always been that all the profits go back into creating this content. We fly around the world to be able to do this, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys. The new Memento Mori poster is live on the website. If you use code STOIC, you get 10% off with the link in the description. It's a poster made up of loads of little boxes, 80 years of loads of little boxes. You shade it in, and one day you won't shade in another box, and if that doesn't get you motivated, I don't know what will. Guys, thank you for watching. Have a blessed and productive day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.